Hey everyone, welcome back to Living on Vancouver Island. I'm Josh, your local real estate guide, and today we're diving into a topic that I'm very familiar with, moving from Alberta, out of province, to Vancouver Island. So whether you're making the move right now or you're just kind of curious, you're feeling things out, this video will provide you with the practical insights, the tips that I wish that I knew before I made that move. I originally did come from Alberta as well. So let's dive in. First off, let's talk about the housing market here. In Alberta, especially cities like Calgary and Edmonton, housing prices are more so, and I know all things are relative of course, but they are still more so affordable. Housing prices on the island are higher in general than much of Alberta. On Vancouver Island, the average sale price across all different property types has increased by 3% from 2023 to 2024. So the average home sale was actually $728,000. Now, looking ahead to 2025, prices are anticipated to increase. We don't know what will happen until it happens, but a lot of economists are saying that prices could go up as high as 4%. This remains to be seen. But the bottom line is that you do typically get less for your money here. But is this where you want to be? Do you want to be on Vancouver Island? Then that is also worth money. It is worth money to me because this is where I want to be. And I can justify, yes, it costs more, but this is where I want to be. And I can justify, yes, life on the island costs more, but this is where I actually want to be with my family. Now, another big thing that people coming from out of province, out of BC, are not typically aware of is that here in BC, we have property transfer tax, or PTT. This is just another tax that the government puts on to every single purchase. It doesn't apply when you sell. The buyer pays property transfer tax. This amount is 1% of the first $200,000, 2% of the remainder, up to $2 million. If you're purchasing above $2 million, it then is 3% over $2 million. That typically doesn't apply to most transactions. So just remember, 1% on the first $200,000, so that's $2,000. 2% on the remainder, so $2,000 every $100,000 your purchase goes up. This amount is taken by your lawyer or your notary that's helping at the time of conveyance and is paid to the province as part of your purchase price. Now, beyond housing and house prices, there is the cost of living that has to be factored in. If you're moving from Alberta, it's different. The cost of living is higher on Vancouver Island. For instance, groceries can cost about 20% more. This is not a hard and fast rule. You'll still find sales and deals, but groceries typically do cost more. And why? Because, hey, we're on an island. Much of it still has to be brought here. There's milk and cream that comes from the island here, but a lot is, of course, trucked in from Canada or down south. Fruit, for example. I came from Alberta, as I mentioned, years and years ago, but I do notice that groceries do cost here. And when I go back to Alberta, I do notice things are cheaper. And that's also because we have a provincial sales tax of 7% in BC. So we have that 7% provincial sales tax plus GST in BC. Whereas you go to Alberta, it's just the 5% GST. So shopping in local markets can find you some good deals. You're shopping locally, of course. You're helping the economy locally. But you can also really support people that live here and keep the money in BC if it's possible. Okay, another thing that you should really be aware of coming to BC from out of province is healthcare. You have to take this into consideration. While BC, of course, we do have a healthcare system in place, just like the rest of Canada, there is a shortage on family doctors in BC, but also on the island. As of 2025, approximately 700,000 British Columbians still don't have access to a family doctor. So it's a good idea to get on that wait list as soon as you come here. Get on a wait list. Now, if you don't have a family doctor, there still are solutions. There are walk-in clinics around that you can just go walk in and see a doctor. The issue is that, again, because many people don't have family doctors, many people are funneled toward these walk-in clinics, and the wait times can be, quite frankly, ridiculous. So then it makes people show up first thing in the morning, and there'll be lineups to get in before it even opens. Now, a little tip is there are some walk-in clinics that are not as walkable. And what I mean by that is you need to have a vehicle, a car, to get to them. If you can transport yourself to one of those, the lineups are typically much less. For example, there's a walk-in clinic in downtown Nanaimo at Port Place, but it's downtown. Everyone can just walk to it. That one is super busy. There's one in Mill Bay you have to drive to. That one you can get in much faster in my experience. Now, another thing to consider if you're planning on making the move to the island is the change in climate. So Vancouver Island, we have a very temperate climate. It's very, very mild. Our winters, we don't get those, huge -20, -30 below winter days. So the ocean moderates our temperature. We still will get 30 and 40 above degrees days in the summer. There's just less of them. And then of course in the winter, rather than lots and lots of snow, we get rain. And there are many, many rainy days in the winter. At the same time, it's typically above freezing. So you can still get outside. You'll wear a rain jacket, of course, but you can go on that bike ride. You can go on that hike. It'll be chilly, but you won't have to have that huge parka on. Another thing to take into consideration, moving here from out of province, maybe you're coming from out of province, Alberta, like we were saying, but from a bigger city like Edmonton or Calgary. In these bigger cities, Vancouver is included. Public transit is a thing, right? There's LRTs, there's subway stations to get you around. There's lots of options. You can get away easier without having a vehicle. However, on Vancouver Island, we don't have public transit per se that spans the entire island. There are city buses in Victoria or in Nanaimo, but if you need to get from Victoria to, say, Ladysmith, a town that's 20 minutes south, it's challenging. The bus will go there, but it'll only go there a few times a day. And if you're working and have to commute and are relying on that bus system, it's super challenging. We have taxis, of course, here, but the cost goes up. We don't have Uber quite yet. It's in Victoria, but it hasn't come up the whole island. There's plans to bring it. There is another ride-sharing service called U-Ride. I just haven't used it myself personally, so I can't comment on it. And then, of course, getting to the island. We're an island in the middle of the ocean. You'll be taking BC ferries most likely. There's also plane service, seaplanes, or just regular planes from the airport to get you back and forth. But it takes extra time and there is additional expense involved. So just take that into consideration. When I was moving here, a friend told me that, oh, you're moving to the island. You know what they say about people that move to the island? They never leave. And they said that in a way that was like people are trapped on the island. I personally have never felt trapped. I now, after living here for many years, I think that people don't leave because in general, it's pretty dang good here. I really do like my life here. Going off the island, I do it when it's necessity, but I don't do it necessarily because, I just need a break from the island. Life here is good. This is where I want to be. But let's say you want to go to a big concert. Those big concert names, they typically won't come to the island. They'll come to Vancouver. So that takes me off the island. We have Hullo ferry service, which is a high-speed ferry that's only walk on, but it takes you to downtown Vancouver. And they actually book additional sailings in the evenings after concerts. So I found that super handy. I can get on a ferry in the mid-afternoon, go over, maybe have dinner in the city, see the concert, walk back onto the ferry, and come home and I'm sleeping in my own bed. It'll be a late night, but there's still options. Another thing to take into consideration is employment opportunities. There are jobs here. There are jobs to be had. There are employers here. But in the end, there's less people that live on Vancouver Island. So with less people, that means there's less companies that are here working to service the people here. So there will be less jobs on the island. There will be more jobs in Vancouver. So definitely do your research. If you're self-employed, do research on what the competition will look like. In general, if you're self-employed, let's say you're in the trades and you're a hard worker, you're honest, you do good work, you should be okay. There's not a recession going on per se in many sectors. It's just there's less jobs out there. Now, another thing to be aware of is the specific community that you're considering moving to. There's many different areas on the island. The island is large. It's over 400 kilometers long, right? So if you're driving 100 kilometers an hour, it takes 4 hours to get from north to south, but you can't even drive that fast most of the way. It's a big island. So areas will differ. If you want kind of a city vibe that's very walkable, maybe you want downtown Victoria. It's a smaller city. It's really pretty, and I really do like it there. But if you want that city vibe, that might be your best bet. If you want small town living, there's of course many, many different options. So I really recommend before you buy, come for a visit. Let's go house shopping. Let's look at what's out there. Stay a week or so, stay in that community. Get a hotel in that community. Wake up, walk the streets in the morning, walk them at night, and really feel it out to see what the community is like that you're considering moving to. So moving from Alberta to Vancouver Island is a big change. But with the right preparation and really going in with your eyes open, it can be an awesome change. It can be a great change for you and your family. It's one that I did with my family years ago. I'm very grateful that I can call this place home. If you have questions, reach out. You can leave a comment below, or you can visit our website, give us a call, give us a text, and we can chat about what life on Vancouver Island is really like.